Often when we're being asked to multiply numbers involving decimals, if we look at the non-zero numbers, they look very familiar. So for example, in this case we can see that we've got a 9 and an 8. And we should know our multiplication tables sufficiently well to be able to do 9 multiplied by 8. The only problem is how do we incorporate those decimal places. So we'll see on the left hand side that 9 has got 2 decimal places, the 0 and the 9. Likewise, the 8 has got one number after the decimal point, so that's got 1 decimal place. So altogether, these two numbers have 3 decimal places, and that tells us how many decimal places we have to cater for in our answer. And we can see that here, we've got a decimal point and we've got 3 places after it. Now what we can do is ignore the decimals and look purely at the numbers which are non-zero, in this case 9 and 8. So we can see that the multiplication of 9 and 8 comes to 72. So what we do is we put the 2, the last value in the 72, into the third decimal place, right at the very end of the numbers that we're catering for at the start of our problem. What we then do is put the 7 immediately to the left of the 2, that's the 72 that we've got originally, and we fill in the remaining gaps with zeros. So our answer for 0.09 multiplied by 0.8 is 0.072. Let's have a look at another question of a similar type. So in this case what we have is 0.005 multiplied by 1.2. We can see that 0.005 has got 3 decimal places, in other words 3 places after the decimal point. 1.2 has got 1 decimal place. So altogether we can expect our answer to have 4 decimal places. So we'll put that ready to go prior to multiplying the non-zero numbers. So our non-zero numbers are 5, 1 and 2. And we put the 1 and 2 together to make 12. In other words, we disregard that decimal point in that second number. Now we know from our multiplication tables that 5 multiplied by 12 is equal to 60. So what we do as before is we use the last digit in our answer, which is 0, and we put that in the last decimal place. So we can see here that goes into the 4th decimal place. We put the other digits, or in this case digit, which is 6, immediately to the left of that 0. And then we fill in the remaining places with zeros. So our answer is 0.0060. Now we know with decimals that the last place doesn't require a 0 unless we're doing specific rounding. So what we can do is ignore that 0 and our answer becomes 0.006. In our final example, we have a situation where we have zeros involved in between some of the non-zero digits. We can see here our first number, 0.101, has a 0 in between the ones, and that's multiplied by 0.4. So the first number has 3 decimal places, the 0.4 has 1 decimal place. Our solution is heading towards 4 decimal places, which you can see in the diagram. Now we probably don't readily know our 101 times tables, but 101 multiplied by 4 is a simple calculation because of the digits which are involved, and the answer comes to 404. But notice how we've considered the 0 in our calculation. Any zeros between non-zero digits must be included in the calculation using the process we've done in this video. So the 4, which was in the solution of 404, goes to the far right of the decimal places, and the 4 and the 0, which are on the left, go into the decimal places on the left. And our final solution is 0.0404.